There's an art to creating any high-end beverage, an art that will usually take generations to evolve and decades to perfect in that exotic search for a truly distinctive product. And distinctive is certainly a fit for Colombian distiller Dictador and its extraordinary range of rums. Working with its artisanal heritage, Dictador is taking its products to the next level, revolutionizing both the presentation of its product and, more importantly, the craftsmanship behind the spirit itself. We spoke to Ken Greer, the man who transformed the Macallan Scotch whisky brand and has now turned his formidable talents to the exotic world of rum. A drink, he says, that can leave a fingerprint on your soul. Ken, really good to talk to you. Thanks for joining us. The alcohol business it just gets more and more exciting in many ways, especially with the innovation and people pitching for different markets. I suppose it might be fair to say there's never been a more exciting time to be in the high-end spirits business. Where does Dictador fit into all that?
I think it's such a dynamic environment at the moment. You know, so many things have changed over the last couple of years. Rum is tremendously exciting at the moment. It has so many of the characteristics of great categories like Scotch, bourbon, cognac. It has history, it has supreme craft, it has diversity. And I think leading the pack really is Dictador. Dictador really sees itself as more of an art house that happens to produce great liquor than purely another rum brand. The company is very much set out to be thought leaders in terms of innovation, to offer genuinely interesting, investment grade, collectible, and supremely drinkable rums.
By the 80s, our family were producing massively rums and started the aging around the 70s and to keep, because one of the things that we noticed that in the future we were going to be needing was very old rums. Products that my grandfather aged, we have products that my grandfather aged, my father aged, and I am already aging today. So it's been a tradition, so that's why Dictador is very unique. So here we have some of our besties. These are Pedro Ximénez barrels from 1918. And here we have 99 barrels sitting with 40 years and more of our Dictador rums. Sometimes I think I don't want to sell it, I want to drink it only.
There's that love of the product, which you see very often in vineyards as well as in Scotch whisky distilleries and in bourbon distilleries as well. That joy or pride in the product. So you said your second point was you've got to have a great liquid in the bottle. What is it about rum? What is the attraction of that spirit?
Well, I think there's two things here. You made a great point, Andrew, about love, about joy. There is an emotional aspect to this, and I think there are two examples that show that love. The first is in Dictador Two Masters, where it is a very, very unique project where we build up brand friendships. They're not collaborations, they're friendships. Where Hernan would go and approach, whether it's the folks at Hardy Cognac, Glenfarclas Scotch, Royal Tokai, or upcoming with Newport, probably one of the world's great ports. And we approach them and say, we'd like to do something which you will find joyful and interesting. And very uniquely, we will work with you to give you some of our rum to put into your casks, into your maturation environment. And there's then a friendship, a shared joy, a passion in that collaboration.
So we have a unique, very rare opportunity for investors and opportunity for collectors to have products first release, and we are doing it by barrel.
Where's the mindset there? Is this because is that a family thing? Is that a Colombian thing? Is that something that Dictador itself feels connected to, the art world? I mean, what's the mindset at work there, the culture?
So the first thing is that people are really interested not only in drinking great products, but increasingly collecting and investing, whether it's projects like Wixárika, which is about craft with a Native American tribe from Mexico producing beautiful one-off pieces. The art side of it really comes from the new owners, their passion as personal art collectors, their intelligence, their quest to have innovation that's clever, interesting, and to be enjoyed on a number of different levels. So I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Andrew. I think art is a core part of our point of differentiation. There is the original distillery, which the great rums that we have now were distilled in. Now they're distilled elsewhere, obviously closer to the city. But this beautiful old site has been turned into a project that we call Art Masters. So 17 of the top 20 world's great street artists have been given free rein to decorate, embellish, and create a living art space out there in the old distillery. I think there is a greater appreciation of premium rums. I think because of what Dictador's doing to really excite the category. I mean, they sold a cask for £37,000 at Sotheby's recently, new world record. Sold one of the artist's proofs of the Elite decanter for £30,000 at Sotheby's. We're setting new records now because people are wanting to experience new sensations. They're seeing rum as something with a great story. The products are superb. So I think rum's time has come.
At the moment, we're seeing the biggest increase in production of dark spirits across the world. So new whiskey distilleries, rum distilleries, etc. are cropping up everywhere. Whereas rum seems to be on the rise. It seems to be that people are looking to collect anything that has barrel age and therefore history, and something that's rich in flavour and tends to be dark in colour. The new Dictador release, Generations, which is the collaboration between Dictador and Lalique, shows the first rum collaboration with a crystal maker with a legacy such as Lalique's.
And if you look at rum as a category, I think there's something really, really interesting because cognac has had a fantastic run and continues to do so. There are many wonderful cognacs in the world, great brands like Martell, Courvoisier, Hennessy, some superb brands out there. And they've long been prized, particularly in Asia. There's some amazing Scotch brands, brands like the Macallan, Bowmore, Lafroy, Glenfiddich, Balvenie, some fantastic brands out there. Rum is having its time because the thing about rum is people are now beginning to explore not just regional diversity, but beginning to appreciate there's some very, very good high-end rums. And as I said, Dictador is capturing that high ground through outstanding product quality, through exciting and interesting ideas that add value in a genuine investment grade, and the way they actually hold the conversation. We talk about being an art house. We talk about the supreme appreciation of art in terms of packaging, in terms of story, but most particularly the art of great products.
It's an interesting evolution if you go back just to sort of 2 or 3 generations, like say 100 years, where my parents, that generation, would drink a blend with soda, if they were drinking scotch. And then gradually, when you got to my generation, we were introducing ourselves to single malts and started to sip whiskey more than we were to have it as a kind of early evening beverage in that respect. And then people got into sipping, and then classy vodkas came along, classy gins came along, which is more difficult to drink in isolation, but it can be done if you play your cards right, as it were. And now we're looking at rum. Is this almost a case of its time has come? That, a lot of people who've only ever had Bacardi and Coke are suddenly thinking, actually, this could be a pretty pleasant sundowner just on its own with a couple of cubes of ice.
Well, I think it's interesting because there are 2 things that are germane. One is it's normal in many parts of the world that you don't drink what your father drank. I mean, if you look at blended Scotch whisky in the 60s, people then turned to vodka. People then began to drink other types of spirit. Single malt came on board. So to an extent, it is a little bit cyclical. But I think what you're seeing now is that many of those diverse categories are sustaining their interest through new drinkers.
Dictador has been the pioneer in this segment of luxury. Today, I believe that rum is the future spirit that will become an investor opportunity.
The way Dictador present themselves, especially in a market which leans towards whiskey drinkers, is interesting because they go in for vintages, they let you know the age, they have some high ABV bottlings. These are all interesting to dark spirits collectors. So they offer not just a sort of innovative new way to package and present a rum, but a new way to be inclusive and work with other producers across the category.
We always challenge ourselves in Dictador to go beyond this, to have the most differentiated and excellent rum, to have a story that fits in there that's beguiling, interesting and true, and capping it off with the experience, whether it's looking at the bottle, whether it's purchasing, whether it's enjoying. You know, we want to make sure that we continue to innovate in the category in a way that nobody else does. We are passionate about the quality of what we do, and we love to tell our story. It's really, really important that you should have a discussion like this today to make sure that people are aware of what is a hidden jewel to a lot of people, and the next great horizon, I think, in collectible and investment grade spirits. We really do reach for the stars, and we might just fall back and hit the moon, and it'll always be that way. We, I think, are very, very beguiling, and I think we will deserve our place in the canon of truly great investment grade spirits in the years to come.
Ken, pleasure talking to you. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Andrew. My pleasure.